Hello, everyone. It's Tuesday again, and we are back with Real Talk with Cari and Haley. Thanks, Haley, for being with me again today. I'm excited about this topic because when we talk to leaders all the time, they're doing a lot of training, and then they get a little bit lost when we start talking about how are you coaching your people to success. And there is a big difference between training and coaching, right?
Yeah, there is definitely a huge difference. So let's identify and I guess give the definition of both for those who might not know, because there's a huge gray area between both. And I think it can become rather confusing. And you're like constantly walking this like blurred line as a leader. So, how would you define what training versus coaching is, Carrie?
So I think training is when, and this is what we tend to be best at, probably. Haley, do you find that to be true too? Just naturally, if we are top producing realtors or if we're leaders of a company and organization, we've had experience in that industry. We are experts to some degree. We know how to do the tasks at hand or the sales process or the follow-up system or whatever, because we've learned it. And so training is like basically telling people, showing people, instructing people on what to do because we know what to do that has proven success for us. This is the most natural and easy thing for
Hmm.
most leaders because that's like we've learned it from somebody, we've executed on it, we've got the experience, and now it's real easy to show somebody else what to do, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that that is what people think. If I just train people to be successful, that's all I need to do, and they're going to just go do it. I think the problem is we train people and then we realize they don't do it, and then we're like, what are we
Mhm.
missing here?
Yeah, what exactly.
What
Because
went wrong?
absolutely, because I think, and then that blends really well into or segues into what is coaching then. Because here's the thing, we can train people all day long on what they should do, right?
Yeah.
Because we know as leaders what the systems are, what the processes are. We know we've internalized, not just memorized, but internalized the best scripts to use, how to have really impactful conversations. We've become educated on the markets and the trends, and we know how to integrate this into powerful conversations with our clients, right? And all we have to do is just show our agents, this
Yeah.
is what you do, right? Here's the map, and all
Mhm.
you have to do is walk the path.
Yes.
So then the question becomes, well, why aren't agents doing that? Why aren't they walking the path that we've clearly defined for them and showed them, like, if you do these things,
You
I
will be
promise you,
successful.
you will be successful, right? So why don't they do it, Carrie? So then what's coaching?
Yeah. That's coaching. And so what's interesting about that is when I'm coaching, and I think I know when you're coaching too, we've had this conversation, which is you know what to do, you're just not doing it. Why
Mhm.
aren't you doing that? That is the greater question. And oftentimes it goes back to Haley, what I tell people, there are no business problems because here's the reality. We all know what to do. We can go find what to do if we don't know. It's all on the internet. We can Google it. We can go to
Oh,
a
yeah.
train. There's a blueprints everywhere. There's books, right? So it's not a business problem. It's typically a personal problem showing up in business. And this is why coaching is so incredibly important because people will know what to do, but they will not execute on it. And that is a much more, I guess, profound, conversation. And you said yesterday best, the relationship is the conversation.
Yes.
So what
So, yeah,
conversation are you having with your agent? If it's just telling them what to do, you're
right.
missing a whole nother level of conversation, which is
Yeah.
coaching.
It's an opportunity. So I would say, backing up a little bit, coaching is the conversation. It's understanding what the motivation is for each person, because the reason why they're most likely not doing these things that they're supposed to be doing is that there's an underlying issue. Maybe for
Mhm.
them they're just not quite understanding, or there's a moral dilemma, or the reality is that they're motivated. People are either motivated towards something or away from something. They're always motivated. It's just, are they motivated toward it or are they motivated away from it?
Mhm.
So, you, as the leader, as the CEO, as the founder, as the team lead, whatever it is, your job as a coach is to ask deeper questions to understand what is motivating people. And you're not, as a coach, your job is not to give them the answer either.
Right.
Your job is to ask questions to help them self discover and then understand and feel empowered to then move forward with a new plan, because
Mhm.
whatever you're showing them, it's not working for them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's the deeper conversation. It's that, and that is the relationship. The conversation is the relationship.
Yeah, and I think so many leaders are they feel incompetent in this area. They don't know the questions to
Yeah.
ask. So the greatest thing is you've got to get a list of really great questions to ask so people can self-discover and become aware. I always say awareness is the very first step. Most people aren't aware. They
Hmm.
aren't asking themselves the right questions. So you have to ask them the questions because the questions they ask themselves are going to equate to the quality of their life and their business.
Mm.
But we don't know those questions as human beings oftentimes. So we need somebody to help ask those so we can ask ourselves and then we can actually become aware and self discover. And when we have that aha, we now understand what's going on. And to your point, we can make a different choice. This is how you affect change in your business and productivity because it's how you get people into action. Execution should be the new goal, right? Because we
Right.
can tell people what to do all day long. And if they do not execute, there will be zero result for you or them. And that's going to, of course, equate to your business. So, difference between training and coaching is telling people what to do and asking them great questions to help them self-discover what is going on so that they can actually go do what you're training them to do. And that is a very different skill set from a leader. I know for me, it took me quite some time to work on that coaching skill, and I'm still working on it. It's a never
It's
ending
a daily
process.
practice. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. What do you think some of the great questions are? I mean, you're a phenomenal coach. For those that don't know that, Haley, and you are really, really great at helping people self-discover. I think through great question asking and just creating that safe space. Are there any particular questions that you found to be super successful in your coaching?
Yeah. So I would just recommend, if you're trying to have a conversation where you're digging a bit deeper,
Mhm.
it's just, first of all, asking open ended questions. You always
Yeah.
want to ask with open ended questions, not leading questions. But
Mhm.
here, and people are not going to like this, but you know what the best question to ask is
Mm.
when you're asking questions is just, and what
Mhm.
else?
Mhm.
What else?
Is there more
Okay.
there? Yeah.
Is
What are
there
you
more?
not telling me? Yeah.
It doesn't, there's no, like, you don't have to be a rocket scientist. It's really just building the rapport, the trust
Mhm.
and the confidence, just like we do lead generating. You're doing the same thing with other people in your life. It doesn't just necessarily need to be your agents, right?
Mhm.
This is everyone in your life, these skills
Mhm.
work on. You are just helping them to dig deeper.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
it's just very powerful. It really can be.
You have to be able to be willing to hold that space. And I think that's where it's uncomfortable for the leader because the leader doesn't want to dig. Because I've heard this a lot, Haley. People will say to me, I don't know if I want to go into that whole thing with my agent or my executive admin or whoever this is, because I don't want to really get into all this personal stuff. And the reality is, whether you like it or not, if you're a leader, you're in personal stuff because personal leaks into business, business leaks into personal. There is no compartmentalization
Hmm.
of these things, particularly if you're an entrepreneur. The business becomes part of your life and you've got to figure out how to help people integrate that. But that also means that as human beings, we bring our personal stuff into work, whether we try to or not, or whether it's conscious or not. And so you have to be willing to get into some of those uncomfortable conversations, hold that space and say, well, what are you not telling me? I feel like there's something more, Haley, that you're not telling me here,
Yeah.
and just wait and be patient and make it as comfortable as possible. That's where you earn that trust too, I think, in that conversation, right?
Yeah, and I like that you said that you're just creating the space. That's all that
Mhm.
it is. You don't have to be the expert. That's the next thing I want to say, Carrie, is as leaders, you absolutely do not need to have all the answers. You don't need to be doing everything. You don't need to show up and have some grandiose like answer that's going to save someone's life. That's not your job. And if you feel like, hey, I'm not really I don't, I'm here to create that space for you and empower you, but I don't think I'm the right person to help you through this. Why don't we hire someone who's a professional, like a business coach, right?
Right.
There are other people out there who thrive and feel so fulfilled having these conversations, right? That keeps the CEO and the founder, at their
Focused.
30, yeah, focused on what they need to be doing. And you just
Mhm.
hire a business coach to help your sales team, because you can hire a coach to coach your whole team. You
Yeah.
really can. It doesn't have to be you.
No. And if you've got some aspiring leaders, but you know that there's something amiss there, one-on-one coaching for them. I'll tell you, like in my experience, and I know you feel this way as well, Haley, I don't think that you can have more loyalty and impact somebody's life more than if you can really get them into some sort of, coaching scenario that helps them to
Mhm.
overcome those personal limitations, to personally develop so that they can be more successful in business. By the way, your business can never grow past the extent that you do as a human being.
Oh, I
Can't
love that.
happen. So if you aren't helping your people grow as a human being and get to that next level, then they're not going to grow to the next level in business, no matter how much you train them.
Mhm.
So if you don't have the time and you've got too many people, invest in them. They will feel so supported
Yeah.
and invested in, and that loyalty because you helped impact their life and their business. And by the way, your income is going to go up because their productivity is that is going to be the byproduct of it. So whether you want to become a better coach, a better question asker, a better, leader that creates that space, or you've got some people that you just know could utilize this to help them be better in their business for you and themselves. Haley and I are here to help you. This is what we do every day is we help, leaders. We help leaders become better coaches in our coaching, but we also will coach those on their teams or in their own leadership team to reduce that maybe
Yeah.
responsibility for that leader. So reach out to us. You guys know how to find us, of course. Final thoughts on maybe first, how does somebody identify if they want to be, if they feel like they have the capacity to be that coach as a leader, or if they should outsource it? I mean, are there any things that you've noted or people have said like, this just maybe isn't for me? Because by the way, being a coach isn't for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it starts with curiosity. I think everything really does. Going into it, having these conversations, discovering like, hey, because that's how I discovered it. It's like, I
Yeah.
really, really enjoy having these deep conversations and creating a space and helping people to feel seen and heard and help them to get into action, help them to move past their limiting beliefs. I really enjoy that. There are
Mhm.
some people who they just don't enjoy that, and that's perfectly fine. You will know internally if it's something that you like doing or not. I do encourage every leader, because we are all leaders, right? So no
Yes.
matter where you sit in your business, you're a leader. I
Mhm.
would encourage everyone to just have that self-awareness. If it's something that you really like doing, let's
Mhm.
explore together. Let's see where that leads you, right? Because there's always like we don't have to fit into a box, right? We can explore, we can be curious, we can ask questions and
Yeah.
discover, hey, where else can this business take me? It could just be a
Yeah.
stepping stone to something greater.
Yeah. And I'll say if that's a great, my final thought would be if you haven't yourself had a holistic coach, to make sure that you've leveled up yourself up personally as much as professionally, because maybe you have been really focusing on your professional development, but not your personal development. And you might be at your own ceiling of training, coaching, and leadership. First and foremost, get a coach because you
Hmm.
will realize I know what this experience is like. I want to provide it to others, or I don't, but I also now know it's valuable to others. And so I can
Right.
identify people in my organization that need it. There are plenty of leaders who have never actually had a coach to help them level up personally and professionally before, and that would be the first step.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Great conversation as always with you, Haley. Thanks everybody for watching us. We'll see you next Tuesday.